a shot.
Kendall. And today we wanted to talk more about colorism. We know that's on a macro level, and we wanted to talk about more on a micro level and more specific to the Black community, an underlying ton of like light skin versus dark skin, even though we don't want it to be that way, but it is something that exists. So we wanted to go and talk about it. On a micro level, we wanted to talk about colorism and specifically color stratification, stratification is basically the arrangement or the classification of people or things into groups. And in sociology, it's more specific to a hierarchy or a graded level or a status. So within the community of African American people, we tend to color stratify and we tend to group one another into specific spots in a hierarchy. So if you're light skinned, you're the best. If you're right in the middle, you lucky. And if you're dark skinned, poor you, go somewhere and hide. So it gets rough.
It does.
You know, like you don't belong. So we wanted to talk about that on a more detailed level because that's something that's within the Black community that nobody wants to talk about, but everybody knows is happening behind the scenes. So we wanted to go ahead and address that, and y'all will give us a little bit more detail about examples.
I really feel like a history teacher, you guys. Because whenever we think of things, I'm like,
Right?
I want to go way back. No, but I was listening to a series
NPR.
or special, yes, on NPR. It's called Black Like Me, and you guys should check it out. But they were talking about the brown paper bag test, and it's something that like when I took Black Studies, I remember kind of like learning about, but not really learning about. So then when it got brought up, I was like, oh, I gotta like research it. But basically, like back in the day, for churches, fraternities, sororities, Black colleges, because at that point that was, you know, it was segregated. They would do this thing called a brown paper bag test where they would literally like hold up your skin to a brown paper bag, and if you matched it or you were lighter, you could be admitted. You could go to that church. You were accepted, and then if you were darker, it was just kind of like, shoo fly, don't bother me. And I was like, wait, because it boggled me, because it's very easy to understand when another race does it to you, right? Like they are segregating us or discriminating against us. But when you start to learn about it within your own community, like it is a Black college that was doing that. That wasn't a white person or this person doing it. It was Black people saying, okay. Well, I know you're Black. You're actually my cousin. But you're like church, like not that it makes sense in any realm, but I was like, the church. Yeah. Like, could you imagine just being like, you're gonna have to go like somewhere else, like you have to go somewhere where dark skinned people, and it's like,
Give praise.
yeah, and it's just like, how harsh is that? Because we were kind of talking about spectrum. So what if you have kids of these varying races, and you're like, well, my lighter skinned children are gonna have now these new opportunities because now they have access to education, they have access to better jobs, they have access to these things, and it just saddened me because, like I said before, that's not something that we created. Someone else created that, but then we made the choice to perpetuate it.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here today, can still talk about color stratification and light skin versus dark skin, and it's relevant. It's not like a few, years ago this was a thing. It's like, no, like as of today, these things are still going on, and I'm just like, it makes me want to cry. Like, it's sad, and it's hurtful, but it's also good to be aware of where it comes from. Because I think we all know there's this like division, but it's like, we don't always think about, well, where does that division come from, and how do we play a part in it? And so just kind of learning about that and hearing, you guys should really listen to it, hearing the experiences of people and how they've kind of walked through life dealing with that in modern times, it's eye-opening. So
It is.
They had a blue vein test too.
Oh, what? Wait, what?
If you're like, you can see my, well, you can't see it now, but if you can see your veins, it's like the same thing.
Let's see if we get into the college, guys.
Wait,
Natalie,
I get to go to college. Me?
I mean, technically,
what is that commercial? I go to college.
I can't.
That's really weird. College.com.
oh my goodness.
I didn't know that.
Wait, does
That's
this
deep.
part count?
That's a blue
I don't know.
vein. That
Right
is
here.
a blue vein. You in there like
I only heard that from one person, so maybe I don't know.
No, but the thing's like it's actually not crazy because they held a paper
Yeah.
bag to people. So
Mine are very, very prevalent.
Yeah.
Like, literally transparent. And like on my eyelids when I was pregnant especially, it was like a map. On my
It's like a map.
it was a map to Avery.
and it's just
Here is your
it's just crazy how because I think I was like reading an article. Maybe I was talking to you, and it was talking about like the rate of black people, but like lighter skinned people versus darker skinned people that are educated and all these things. And for some reason, I was just like, that don't even make no damn sense. And then you start to research, and you're like,
That's why.
that's. There's always been this access or this privilege, and it's like, oh, like this privilege does exist. This like making things accessible does exist, and then it's like, so now that statistic is not
doesn't
that
sound
crazy,
Yeah.
because it's real and it's perpetuated by our own community.
right.
Even in families, like they'll encourage one kid who, like the lighter skinned kid, to go to school. They know already that you're gonna have those privileges, whereas like the darker skinned family member probably isn't gonna get that much encouragement. Like perfect example, Jason's lyrics, where I believe he had killed their dad or the mom's boyfriend or something, but the darker skinned brother took the heat for him because they knew that since he was light skinned, he would be able to have a better life.
Yeah.
And so little boy was in prison all that time, came out, now he's batshit crazy and resents his brother because he's light skinned and he has these privileges when in fact he wasn't even the one who did it.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of bleaching your line?
No.
So my mom's first love, my mom's first boyfriend.
She called herself.
Well, first boyfriend. In college was very fair, like light skin, light eyes. So in the family, they would only breed with people who were fair and light skin to keep their line fair. That was also a thing.
What?
I can
I can see how that would be a thing.
Yeah. And so it's called.
That's so
bleaching your
intentional.
line.
Oh, like your lineage.
That reminds me of another movie, Feast of All Saints, where it talks about the Creole people in Louisiana who, the slaves, they were fair-skinned slaves, but they were still slaves or whatever, but the mothers, when they had their kids, they would try to have kids with these white men. And the reason that they did that was so that their kids would have a better life because they would come out fair skinned. Actually, they weren't slaves. They actually were freed, but they were still, living a jacked up life. Yeah. And so, but that was how they would ensure that their kids could have a better life. Not only is their father, it only worked if you had fair skin, because in this particular family there was 3 kids, and the kids didn't know that the other girl was their sister because she was darker skinned. And so the mom and the kids, she was just the maid in the house. And so the maid sister actually grew up resenting her siblings because she saw them getting all these privileges, their mom putting so much energy into making sure that they could go to a good college. The son got to go to Paris and live his dreams. The daughter kind of got jacked up in the crossfire. She was just too pretty and resented being pretty. And she... It's not funny, but she asked her sister to help her because she knew her sister was into voodoo. And so she asked her sister, like, I need you to help me to get these men to stop fawning over me. It was all these white dudes that liked her. And so her sister hooked her up with this voodoo spell, which basically they drugged her and had all these dudes gangbang her. And then she was no longer desirable because everybody knew that, you done been with everybody.
In a
horrible way. Yeah. So, totally off topic, but that's like, it just reminds me of that.
But not that it's off topic, because it breeds that bitterness, you know what I mean? And it just makes you like, see, it's because you're light skinned and I'm dark, and we'll never be able to see eye to eye within siblings.
Yeah.
That's scary how intentional it is. Like, sometimes I feel like we think that these are things that we are taught, which is true, and sometimes those things are just stuck in our subconscious. But it's like, to actually make that a decision, right? That's a very intentional decision, that I'm only going to have sex with people that are lighter skin so that the color is literally like just being drained. Little do they know you could actually probably still have a darker skin kid. That's still a possibility, but it's like that's so scary and sad.
And it still happens today.
I know.
It does. Me and Ayana are talking about it. We had a deep conversation about it. We were eating some soup.
We were eating some soup.
We had a deep conversation about that. We were talking about how some people want to have lighter skinned children because they like the way they look with the little curly hair. And
You had to do the extra.
and then some people want darker skinned children because they love the chocolate drop. And then some people want a little life of both, you know? You just want to live both lives.
Why do you like that?
No, because I think Ayana helped me to realize that that was a thing in real life for people. And I just was like, what?
Oh my gosh, she's
No,
looking at me.
it's not a thing. But it's true. People still do it today. Some people are like, you know what? I'm going to make sure that I have a baby with another race so that they get the hair. Or I'm going to make sure that I have a baby with another race so I can make sure that they get lighter skin. Or hopefully they're going to get the eye. Maybe my recessive gene will come out of nowhere. Even though it hasn't been here for like 12 generations. It's going to show up now for my baby with tan skin and blue eyes and brown hair with little blonde tips. You know, like,
That was very specific. That was incredibly
I just
specific.
imagine this Google picture that.
Who is this somebody?
Nobody, but I did meet some kids that were really cute too that looked like that, but they weren't the ones that Google came to my brain. But anyways, basically, I just want to address that all in all, that still happens today. It's not something that's of the past. Like, people still want to breed. Even, what is that, what was I thinking of? There's like this Asian family that I saw, and one of them like was trying to like, do you guys remember that Asian lady who got married to somebody he found out later on that she had plastic surgery and when the kids came out not cute? All that stuff like that, it's still a thing.
Wait, what? No.
So the woman had plastic surgery and looked drastically different than how she looked naturally. But when the babies came out, there was no denying something was wrong. Like, either you slept with somebody else or this is not your real face. Because the children didn't look like
anything like her. And she got more European features and all that stuff. And he sued her for lying to him basically about what she looked like, and he couldn't have cute kids. And then apparently out there, if you don't have like a cute kid, or you can't marry them off so that they can go on to live life and blah 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 and so on.
But there's this obsession with mixed babies. There's an obsession.
I see it everywhere. Mixed life, mixed babies. Everybody's mixes life.
I'm like, I'm trying to have brown babies with afros. Literally, anybody who knew me before Avery knew, Kendall wanted a brown afro baby. Like, that's what Kendall wanted. So I don't know. It's just
There is an obsession.
I just want
That's a fetish.
I just want
You just want one?
I just want a baby.
I just want a healthy one.
Right. I just want a baby. I don't know if I've ever been like, oh, my baby has to look this specific way. I think I've actually been just praying and hoping that all of the children I've been mean to, that my baby doesn't end up coming out just not cute at all because I've just been mean and some sort of karma in my life.
Against ugly people either.
Okay. Yes, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
And I behold that my child maybe.
I hope I'm not that person. Well, I'm not even gonna go there.
I think I want a child. I think I want a child that has the same skin tone as me. Like I was saying previously, because of to counter that, like to counter the everyone's mixing. I'm like, I don't understand what's wrong with this chocolate skin, and I would love for my baby to have chocolate skin. If I end up being with some of a different race and that doesn't happen, I'm not gonna be like, damn it. Like, but my thing is like, no, like I already have a preference for darker men, so I'm like, I'm just hoping.
Ooh, can I actually make a little confession? This is something that I just realized either late last year or early this year, is that just piggybacking off of babies and liking dark-skinned men, which is the darker the better to me, but anyways, but I never took into account the idea of raising a dark-skinned child and the stuff that they would be faced with. And I'm starting to actually have anxiety about that, because it's like, if I'm with this super chocolatey, handsome, sexy ass man, and I have this, I'm gonna end up most likely with a chocolatey, sexy ass baby child, human being. And I never took into account that that's gonna happen, and they're going to be faced with all these different adversities based on their skin color. And I'm like, will I be equipped to address that with them? And that it kind of made me feel inadequate to the point where I'm like, okay, maybe I need to hold off on this for a little while. I mean, clearly I ain't have no kids no time soon, but this is something I really need to like dig into and think about, because it could very well happen. No matter how much I can say to my child, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, the outside world is probably not going to see them that way. And a writer, Alex L., she's going through that with her daughter, where her daughter, beautiful little girl, dark skin, is being teased at school. And so, you know, she did this whole thing where she put sticky notes all over her mirror, and she makes her read through them before she goes out to school, and just basically trying to build up her confidence and like build up her resiliency, because she knows like black, white, doesn't matter. Those kids are gonna be mean. People are gonna say things about your skin, and that's something I just, was like, man, I need to do some research on how these
Such
parents
a good point.
actually address this stuff with their kids, and just making sure that my child is going to be able to say, Mom, this is something that's happening.
Yeah.
So that was just something.
I don't think a lot of people think about that.
They don't.
But I think in the reverse, as a dark skinned person, this is something that I thought about when I used to think that I wanted kids, is when I was in that place where I didn't want to be dark skinned, all I could think about was having a lighter skin or mixed race child, so that I knew that they wouldn't have to go through what I was going through. So it's almost a reverse situation where it's like, that's something that I'm always worried about, as opposed to something that's like, oh shoot. It's like, I'm living it out daily. So it's something that I'm like, you know what, I don't want you to live this out daily. Yeah. But then another part of me also grew into the fact that if I wasn't gonna have a light-skinned child, and I did have a dark-skinned child, if I don't start loving me, how am I supposed to prove to them that they're worth loving? Or that they're worth it in the first place? I can't connect with you in any way, shape, or form, even though I should be able to connect with you. I can't, because I'm telling myself daily that I'm not worth it. So how am I supposed to prove to you that you are worth it?
Yeah.
How authentic would those words be? And I'm pretty sure by the age that they get to this point, they probably be like, Mom's lying. Like, they know, especially if they see the way that I live out my life, they're going to see those insecurities. They're going to see the way that I'm dealing with people, how I do or do not defend myself or people around me or my child. They're going to see all those things. So for me, when I was going through my struggle, which I'm still getting out of, it's something that I thought about consistently. And at first it was like, this is where the conversation with Yana at the soup place was an issue, because Yana was like, Sylvia, you need to be honest with yourself. And I was like, I'm being honest. And I wasn't really being all the way honest with myself. And it's true, I struggle with that, because I want to be able to be confident in my skin and love who I am as a dark-skinned woman. And I want to have a dark-skinned child just to prove to them that you can get through the feeling that you have right now. Or if it doesn't even exist yet, then just prove to them, hey, there's no reason for you to even feel that way. Don't mind what that person said, and actually mean it. But then there's the other part of me that's just like, I just don't want you to have to go through it at all.
Right.
But then I can't relate to you either, because then I'm going to be looking at your little light-skinned self, and you'd be as cute as can be, as cute as a button. But I couldn't, if somebody says, like, ew, she's light-skinned, like I think I told you guys how I met this little girl who said that she didn't want to go to this other side of town and do cheerleading because she said the dark-skinned girls are going to be mean to me.
Yeah.
So I was just like, and I was just like, I'm probably the first nice dark-skinned girl she ever met. And it was really sad. She was only in the 2nd grade. So, and she was as sweet as can be, but she doesn't know that that's what her idea of dark skin is. They're mean to me, So if I have a child that's like that, how am I supposed to say they're not mean to you? That is, I can't invalidate how you feel, And I can't say, no, we're not all mean, or we're not mean at all. Or I could be like, do the across the book kind of thing. Everybody's mean in some way, but that's not going to help them feel any better about where they're at. So then it's kind of like a catch-22, because whether I have a child that's dark skin or light skin, in some way, shape, or form, we're going to have to deal with the fact that we can't relate in some way. And I think for me, for the longest time, my fear was that they were gonna because pain, I think, hits us more than, and it can affect us more than sometimes the happy days do. I think my biggest fear was always I just don't want you to go through what I have to go through. I don't want you going through Costco hearing I don't do darkies. I don't want you walking down the street and hearing, oh, well, you're cute for a dark-skinned girl. Oh, but you don't want to talk to me. Oh, well, you was never worth it in the first place, and then men going off on you because you're dark-skinned, so you should want to be with me because you're not going to have any other chances.
Yeah.
I'm the best you're going to get, you know?
Terrible.
I don't want you to have that conversation or even have to partake in that type of environment or people talking to you in that way. So, for me, both of you
It's
guys
true.
just-
They pit us against each other
Yeah.
at such a young age. When you were talking about the little girl, it reminded me of that. I think it was some sort of research or like scientific test that they did where they sat little kids down and gave them a white doll and a black doll,
yeah.
you know, and like they would always say like, who's the prettier one, who's the mean one, who's this, and like they were just taught, or we are taught at a very young age that we are light is better, white is right, but that we in some way like we're not this, that we're not the same. You know, and it's just even now at 27, I could probably jump on Black Twitter and look up the hashtag dark skin versus light skin and see a bunch of crap on there. And it's like, I think sometimes a little part of me is like, I think people turn it into humor to cope, right? Like we do that a lot, but it's at the end of the day, it's not helpful. So like, when you see like those memes, or even I feel like we went out the other night and there was some guy that walked past us, and I think we even made a comment of like, oh, he looks hella light skinned, like because of his outfit that he was wearing or something. And it's like, we shouldn't have said that. You know, like we still have to change our thinking and where we are and take ownership and be like, yo, that wasn't cool. That wasn't cool to talk about him like that. Like, you know. And
Poor Avery. Like Avery's gonna get that.
Yeah, and it's definitely gonna be a thing. But I was like, I was looking at this meme the other day, and I think it said something about when you start listening to J. Cole or something. But the girl started off as like a stripper, and she had money in her hand, and then the meme showed like an evolution of her life, and so she like put down the money and picked up a book, right? Which is one message, but the overall message that I saw, though, she was dark when she was a stripper getting money, and then as she started becoming more intelligent, she was light. And like literally, I was like looking at it, I was like, she had to change skin tone?
Right.
Like, wait, I don't understand why within our own community we still choose to adhere to those beliefs or adhere to that system when we know it's detrimental to us, to our kids, to like our future. We shouldn't do that. We really shouldn't. So bad for us.
That I know.
That was bad.
Shame.
No, and it's true because you just get caught up in the funny of it, like like light skinned niggas eat their food like this, and it's just like you know, and it's just like it's funny, but then it's like
It's also
it's like damn, like. But then it equates it too, and I was talking to someone about this, and they're like, don't you see how sometimes they equate like darker to more to strength, right? Like it's like light skinned dudes are weak, light skinned girls don't text back, black women, dark women are queens.
I was like, that's kind of
You know what I mean? Like
that has anything to do with it.
it doesn't.
Y'all just don't text back.
or like you know what I mean? There's like when the darker you are, they like,
Sylvia's like, Natalie really
Doesn't text
me.
me.
she doesn't. I don't know if it has.
But it's not because of my skin color.
It's just her.
That's just me.
As her
I'm not a
human
good
being.
texter.
But and then we equate. Sorry.
Sylvia's
then,
like, I don't believe it.
Look at her. She's thinking. She's like
every
really?
time. She's calculating all of her friends. She's like, how many dark texts?
This is why Nana always calls and texts.
No, let me just put this out there. I don't have a life. I text everyone back. Anyone in my phone knows. Y'all hella get texts and calls back. I just make that time for people. I think I overhit people up. Like, I be asking people like, my bad, I think I've already hit you up too many times. People are like, no, it's cool. I'm like, no, it's not. When I see all my little texts, they're only my color.
See, humor. That's what we're doing.
It really hurts. No, but anyways, there's that other switch that they make, like lighter skinned people, like in that case, that they're weaker. But I think it's kind of to cope, though. It's kind of to be like, I have to make myself feel better than someone that's light, so I'm like.
And then it also goes back to like the history where the light skinned people were pampered, pretty much.
Right.
So it's like historically, they not necessarily weak, but they weren't exercising their real strengths. They weren't picking cotton.
Their physical strength.
They were cooking in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Holding plates.
Damn. Y'all wasn't doing that.
I mean, y'all was.
That's all you.
I'm just saying.
I know.
You know what's also
I
kind of
heard that a lot from black women.
What?
That they won't date a light-skinned black man. They only date a dark-skinned black man because they'll defend them. Like they feel like they're safe with a darker-skinned black man than a light-skinned black man.
A guy actually told me he's a theorist on black people.
I just remember who you're talking about.
It took me a second. I was like, got it.
He is going to be watching, and he's going to be very happy that he's getting any kind of shine right now. So everybody say hi. No, but he is a theorist on this, and unfortunately, he's right.
Unfortunately,
not because of who he is, but because of what the theories are.
Yeah.
Like he said that very thing that black women will choose to date a man who's darker because they feel that they will be protected. They feel like that man is going to go out of their way to protect them. But I've heard dark-skinned men sit there and say, if there was something happening, if someone was shooting, if your ass ain't running, you getting left. I mean, it depends on the person that you're dating.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
Ultimately, it's really about them, but.
Well, I think it ties into also like statistically and historically, darker skin has always been has seemed to be more threatening than light skin. Like when they did surveys of like other race people, I should say, white people, walking down the street, if they saw a light-skinned black man or dark-skinned black man walking down the street, which side would they choose? They all chose the light-skinned side because they felt like they were safer. So I mean,
dangerous. I got cousins.
Stop.
And they all light skinned.
he's dangerous.
Y'all better stop.
Now white people gonna be like, okay, so we can't trust any of them.
You really can't trust
y'all. Did you see that one meme? It was a meme. The girl said that she was
like,
at
y'all
Starbucks,
still
and the white girl sat right next to her, and she grabbed her purse. She's like, you chills too, sis.
Right.
It's like people are people. That's all I'm saying is that.
Yeah.
Break that stereotype.
Right now.
Because.
Break those chains.
I think it all goes back to like these boxes.
The goddamn box.
You like the box, though.
I don't like the box.
I don't either. Like like I was talking about part 2, like my whole life has basically been me yearning to be accepted by, like how the little second grader was saying she doesn't want to go cheer on the other side of town because the other girls are going to treat her poorly. That has been my experience my whole life. So receiving it from both sides, white people, because when they see me, they see black. It don't matter if I'm mixed.
Yeah.
And I'm in my own community, and because I'm not mixed, so it was kind of like, and being told that I was overcompensating for being pro-black because I'm mixed or like light. I'm like overcompensating for the white I don't have. Like, I don't understand. So it's just always been very weird, and obviously I will never be able to walk in the shoes of someone who is darker than me. But I do understand what it feels like to be rejected because I get it on both sides, to be discriminated against because I received it on both sides. So in that way, yes, and how you're saying relating to your children, you will be able to relate to them because everyone feels fear. Everyone feels discrimination. You felt hurt. That's the emotion that you can relate on. So I get it. I can feel that. And because I felt it too. I've had people say racist comments to me because they think, oh, you're not like those other black people. So I'm going to say this about black people and you're probably going to laugh. And I just look at them like, that shit is not funny. Like, it's a problem. I've been called names too from both sides. Like, it's ridiculous. And this, again, is not like a plea for pity or like feel bad for me. But just to say, understand that black comes in many shades, that everybody experiences their, like, colorism or color stratification and feels that pain just in different ways. Like it's a different experience. Yeah. So, yeah.
Everybody feel that blackism pain.
Yeah. Like so many times I just want to like if we're at the laundromat and there's a group of like brown, dark, black girls, wanting them to feel comfortable saying hi to me and not just assuming that I have an attitude because I'm fair. And it's like, no, I actually just want to laugh with you guys.
I just want to be your friend.
I had a friend in college who said I was the first person she ever felt bad about not liking because I'm one of the nicest people she knew. But it was because
she doesn't know you.
I'm kidding.
I'm kidding.
because she assumed that I had an attitude or that I was conceited because I'm light. What? I can't be mad at her because obviously that's her experience. Yeah, but just the whole idea, like, I don't know, just be open and not assuming that everybody fits into this box that you have. I don't know. Yeah. It's easy for me to say that, but I have my experiences and
they exist. Yeah. And that's what this is about, is that it does exist and it exists for everybody. It's not just, you know, a dark skin experience or a light skin experience. It's really just a black experience at the end of the day.
That's true.
And it's just like a almost reverse racism. Always get over saying the wrong thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't want
it's in the community. It's not like from, you know, white people. It's a reverse racism, as in we take it on. Yeah, we're perpetuating it.
No. Yeah, and that's I mean I get it, and like the other girls, it sounds like white tears. Like stop complaining. Like, like I get it. I get it. But at the end of the day, I have had my experiences too. Yeah. So I have the right and the space to express that. Exactly. The way I see it. So.
Yeah, definitely. I know with
you just keep getting closer.
Because her mom is cutting me off. Chill. Last episode she cut me off.
I'm just trying to like. I just want to give myself to everyone.
Oh.
Hey.
So she want to give like this. She want to give 75% to everybody else, 25% to me.
I love you. I actually wanted to grab your hand at so many points, but
here you go.
There's so far. I'm sure.
Another place that this exists, like not even just in like with women, but dating. Dating sucks. We all know this.
Say it again.
Dating, no, it really does suck.
Say it louder for
even
the people.
Even when you're not even trying to date people, it sucks. But what that theorist friend of mine has mentioned to me that I never really considered until I had this conversation with him was that there is this huge double standard when it comes to this light skin, dark skin debate and preferences and stuff like that. Whereas like a black man will get scrutinized for saying, oh, I only date light-skinned chicks. But black women, like I have just sat here and said it, that I prefer like dark-skinned men. And for women, nobody ever says anything. And so, I mean, that's a problem too. Like that we need to, it's kind of like we're either going to have to accept the fact that these men have these preferences, or we're going to have to cut out saying that we have preferences. It can't be, well, we can say it, but you can't say it. And I know a lot of times there is this more historical factor that comes along with it as well, but it doesn't make it right. And, what do you guys think about that? Double standards.
When you brought it up, I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, crap.
This is right, though, because you think about it, if this is a group of men, black men, and they have this conversation, they're like, and they start off like, I prefer light-skinned girls. We was gonna be like, child, did you see this? And it's just like, but
I don't know.
Can just say.
But I also think it has to do with the whole. Actually, I'm gonna wait and let you guys bring that up because
I don't know where it comes from, but I can acknowledge that is true, and it is like weird. What?
Nothing.
She knows where it comes from. She's gonna tell us.
No.
No, she said. Nasty. Yeah, no. I knew that you were being nasty.
Oh, I missed it.
She took out the nastiness and put something pure. But I knew what you said. Sorry. And I'm not gonna say that word anymore because you're inappropriate. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I really care. Like you can't say it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But see, that's the thing. Like, if you don't don't care that you saying you don't care that because we say it, that we say it.
I mean, I don't care that there's a double standard.
I feel like it's way more layered than black women saying that they prefer dark men. I really do. I feel like
unpack that.
Okay. So, where to begin? So,
Kendall's like, I know
Is
there's
it-
so much.
You want to gather your thoughts while I give out?
oh yes, please.
Okay. So for me, honestly, no double standards, right? But for me, I think we've talked about it in one of the episodes. It might have been the swirl one. I'm not quite sure. But for me, it's when the men say, "I don't do dark-skinned girls," or "I don't do black women." For me, I clump them all together because at the end of the day, it's always because they have something negative to say. Right after. They say, "I don't date dark-skinned girls," or "I don't date light-skinned girls." So if it was a group of guys saying, "I don't date dark-skinned girls," my question would be why. And then if their reason isn't a real good reason, then I'd probably be
What's
like, "You're
a
full
good
of."
What's a good reason?
Well,
Did you
what's-
question
There
Delicia's
is
preference?
no reason. Well, I just know her, so I just by default.
But that's the
The
thing.
thing,
That's
do you
what
question
the
her
double,
preference?
The double standard is.
Honestly, I don't think I question what your double standard is. I just know you have a preference. But you also said in the last episode about swirling, which you guys should watch, that you're open. So, but a lot of black men, when they say, "No, I don't date dark-skinned girls," you will literally never see them with a dark-skinned girl.
Right.
Literally never. Like, it's not even like I won't, because they're usually the ones who come up to you, right? Like, normally, unless the girl's coming up to the guy, normally it's the guys that pursue. So you'll never literally see him come up to a dark-skinned girl. And yes, that's a choice. No, you don't really have a choice if another guy comes up to you, but you have a choice to either say hi or not say hi. You would said, at least per your words, you said you'd still be open.
Yeah.
They're not open.
Right.
There's a difference. At least you're willing to be there. It may not be your end goal, but you're willing to be open about it. They literally will just be like, "No, I don't date this," and there's no changing it. But why?
I don't think they would be able to give you an excuse that would make
Exactly.
it.
So,
But on the flip side, if I sat here and said, "Nope, only black men, dark men," no one's about to question me.
Exactly.
No one's gonna ask me,
But you
"Well,
know what
why?
I
What's
think-
wrong with light skinned men?" They're just gonna be like,
I think it's because darker skinned people get the brunt and like the most violence, I think, out of this type of stereotype. So I think people won't say anything because it's like, y'all don't get anything anyway, so I'm gonna let you have it.
you can have it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a little air of that in there of like, I don't feel like it's my place to say anything about that because I want to change that. And so I'm not going to say anything bad about your preference to date darker skinned black men because there's already so much that they're fighting. I don't need to add to that conversation. But in the reverse, when it's black men just being only open to one type of girl, it's kind of like, well, okay, but now you're excluding all the black girls that are getting all the brunt of this. So I'm not saying I agree, but I
Right.
think
That's
that might be a piece.
I get
But
that.
there's still a
puzzle.
plethora of light-skinned men who aren't getting black-skinned women. Or black-skinned women. Black women. And I feel like that's kind of just... Not even dark-skinned.
Oh,
just
just
like black
black
women
women
in
in
general.
general.
Because
Okay.
it's like from... Well, I don't know. I don't know the preference amongst dark-skinned women or if there is one.
Yeah.
But I know with a lot of light-skinned women, that is a thing that they want to date a dark-skinned guy.
Dark-skinned,
But I mean, like, even white girls, they be trying to find the chocolatiest chocolate they can find.
But you don't
Except
see Africans. anybody find a chocolate woman.
That's
they
what
can
I'm
find.
saying. That's what
It's
I'm saying,
always
that double
white
standard.
Yeah,
White men,
They want the exotic ones, which you don't talk
what
about too.
is exotic?
They want you to be from Africa, you know, or you're from
From the
the
motherland.
island, you know, like it's not
Yeah.
like, oh, I just grew up down the street in Scotland and
They're like,
Yeah.
"Next."
like
That's
it's
still
like
that-
they like that
fetish
idea
line.
that they have somebody that's a quote unquote gem, somebody that's rare
or like
in
a culture,
America.
like
you know, like
culture.
That's true
not
because
black culture.
Ronald. Whoa.
Wait,
Sorry.
Wait, no, Kendall's gonna share.
Go
I
ahead.
was just saying maybe we can like distract.
Distract.
So, one aspect of it is black women who prefer darker complexion, black men are still loving in their race. It's not like discriminating against everyone who's black.
Yeah.
Black men who don't want to date black women, it's like you don't want to date your own. Like you're preferring your Eurocentric standards of beauty.
Yeah.
And that's why I think is one differentiation and why like you like dark men, I'm not gonna question it. Like at least you love it inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And then the other part of it, something in my head is talking about like the sexualization of women and like men basically being able to have their pick for women, regardless of what race that they have, like this being a patriarchy, something like that. So I don't know that they're identical circumstances. That's all.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
there
she
you
said
go. there you go.
But what Natalie was talking about, and we won't mention the name again.
Don't say that it was a
We have a friend.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Some dare say
Who uses the brown paper
call
bag?
a friend.
I
I'm not
this is my thing. I will say this. Not that I respect his views, but I respect the honesty that he gave when we asked the question.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put it out there that this person didn't come to us and
just
say these things. This is something that we asked of him, and he told us. So I will honor that. And I also think that there's other things that person has experienced that makes him think these things that I haven't sat there and talked to him about. But we basically were sitting there, and we were like, because we know that this person does not date within our race. He does not think black women are beautiful. He don't even think Beyonce cute. And so that look,
Kendall almost fell out her chair.
I tried to get a gauge because I was like, when someone's like, I don't like black girls, I have to gauge what that means to them.
Yeah.
So then I just started naming people. Nope. And I feel like Beyonce is a very beautiful woman. I feel like people can see that. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I feel like if you don't think Beyonce cute, then he really doesn't like black women. And he said no, and I said okay. So then now I know where you're at.
I'm already sitting here like this.
Like I already know.
Not just because of Beyonce, but
yeah, but I was like, so I already can kind of know where you're at, right? So I'm like, I don't think Beyonce. I'm like, oh no, Beyonce beautiful. She's beautiful. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she is beautiful.
And so
Rip her.
we asked him, between us, we're like, okay, we basically asked him to rate us. Like, if you had to date a black woman and you saw through us, how would you rate us? And I think I was like a 4, 3.5. I don't know what I forgot
He gave me a 5. If I was a little bit lighter, I might get a 6.
I was pretty low. I think it's because I'm fat too.
I wasn't there.
And I don't know. Natalie's number was.
I was
like a 7.
I was a 7. I was just mad because I'm cute. So I was like, excuse me?
But I feel like I was low.
But until he explained why he put us where he put us, at first I was only like, well, I'm fucking fantastic. So
yeah.
But then he started explaining, and I was like, ooh,
But
you need to fix all of that.
So
his explanation though is a simple sentence. The lighter you are, the better you are. The darker you are, the uglier you are.
That's it.
That was
It didn't care about physicality. It doesn't matter any of that. If you are dark, you can have an amazing body. You are going to be ugly to me. You can be light, and no offense, the girls he fuck with ain't cute. It's also hard to see. I'm looking at the.
Well, not cute to you.
Yes, not cute to me. Not cute to me, but when I'm comparing, if I can look and say, I'm like, well, that's what you think is beautiful. I don't see how you don't see that in my friends.
Right.
And it's not because they are more beautiful. It's because they're white or Hispanic and they're lighter skin. And that was his explanation. He's like, it's literally based on your skin tone. It has nothing to do
with you as a person.
No.
Nothing.
And that's
people
real.
like that actually exist.
Well, yeah, he's definitely not.
And he's our friend. And he's our friend.
I didn't know. I just
right. I was like, as soon as you guys told me, I'm like, I can never look at you the same.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry, friend, but I do think about it every time I see you. I'm not gonna.
How can you not?
It's something that
How
I
can
do
you
every
not?
time I see you.
I don't know how y'all doing it.
And he's African American, so
Yo, mama is black. Your kids are going to be black. Your daughter, if you have a daughter, she's going to be black.
And what are you gonna tell her when they find out? Oh, she's black. What are you gonna
find
say?
out she's black? She gonna be black.
She gonna be
That's
black.
not something you gonna find out. You know, you a black.
Are you gonna think that your child's not beautiful because she's?
Because she can come out dark. She can come out dark too. Like,
Right.
the only shred of grace that I have for him is that he grew up in the same society as everybody else.
Yeah,
That's the only shred of grace that he gets. Because it's like, you have a choice. I don't care care about your pain, but not to the point that you're going to internalize this, like, what is it? Prejudice against specifically your own people and people that don't deserve it. Like, it's
right.
absurd.
It's the society we live in.
It was so surprising to me. I just remember feeling, I mean, I guess I shouldn't have asked if I didn't want to know, but I was just felt so, like, degraded.
Yeah.
Just, and I was ranked the highest. And I still felt like this is so degrading and so, like, how do you really know this is the choice that I'm making, right? Like, I'm only going to date Latina or white girls because I don't like dark skin. You live with that every day, and that's the choice that you're making. I don't understand.
Well, I think for men it's a lot easier because they have a choice between all these different women. Like, they literally do. Like, I think I mentioned this in the last episode, in the Swirl episode, that for black women, it's not an option. So for them, they can sleep peacefully at night. If we start trying to have preferences like that, we gonna be
single for the rest of our lives.
Well, not necessarily the rest of our lives, but dating is not going to be
Well,
as
40%
accessible.
of black women have never been married in the first place, or something like that. What is that? What did you say? It's like 40% of black women have never been married or have been divorced or something like that. Like, black women usually we're just treated like we're down here. It's just a known. I feel like it's a fact.
That is a fact.
It is a fact.
Intersectionality, black women are at the bottom of the totem pole.
Right.
You know what I always think about, and it always makes me so sad? I just think about, like, black trans women or black, like, lesbian women. Like, on the spectrum of things, I don't have it that bad. But I just think about other people that are living other experiences and how much more crap. Like, why?
They have so much otherness.
There's like, it's like you're marginalized and then you're
then
you just keep getting further out. You know what I mean?
Yes. And then the rest of society is like, why are they not successful? Why are they not doing this? And then they're just complaining. And it's like, because you literally chip away at their dignity every single day. Yeah. And you leave them with this much to exist with, and then you wonder why they are the way that they are. It's like, the resiliency that it takes to live that life, you should be applauding that person every day that they get up and go to work, or get up and sit in your face and talk to you, knowing that you are looking at them and thinking so little of them.
That's
how little
black
of you
person
are
in
you.
general.
That's just, it makes me so upset. I'm sorry. I just get really upset when I think about that stuff.
Like, these are the types of things, like, if you get upset about anything, like this topic, these issues deserve that. Like, it doesn't just come out of nowhere. Like, the response matches the offense. 100%. So, it's ridiculous. Y'all don't have to be his friend. That's all I'm saying. I will not be upset.
But you know what I want? But okay, Trevor Noah kind of brought up this when he was talking about racism on a whole. Of like, if you know that someone has a certain prejudice or feels a certain way, don't disregard them or kick them out of your life, because sometimes people hold those things without knowing a person that matches that stereotype. So, like, I may hate all gay people because I don't know gay people and I only believe what the world tells me about them. But once you get to know that person and they are a real person to you, those other things start to slip away because you won't identify them with that stereotype completely anymore. And so when people like that, it's like, it's hard, but I think it's more important that they are included and that they see a successful, beautiful woman like Sylvia, and they know a successful, beautiful woman like Sylvia, and it's not like, hey, actually, you go stay over there and you have your prejudices and your stereotypes and you live that life. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to run away from that thing that you have. You get to sit with it and live with it, and I'm going to be in your life, and I'm going to keep challenging you to be a better person at the end of the day.
You could just leave. I'm torn, but I mean, at the end of the day, you have to do what brings you peace.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, for me, why put yourself, continue to interact with someone who you only associate negative emotions with? I don't think it's healthy, but I do completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
With what?
With what you're saying.
Oh.
No, he's so dumb. No, but it's because no. But it's because it's kind of to piggyback of what Natalie said. It's like, if I start to to pick out people that don't agree with everything that I believe in life, then I'm gonna be left with this one experience. And it's true. He has those things. Like I said, I personally know that there has to be something deeper than that. That it's not this like superficial, like he just doesn't like black women. I don't know what his experience has been with black women. I don't know what his relationship with his mother looks like, because there's something that I just see that you hate yourself.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, I want to know why, because there's a reason. And then if it's really just like some bullshit, then maybe that friendship does end, you know? But if it's some real deep shit, like how we were talking about people in these families that are experiencing privilege, you know what I mean? And what if someone's like, they have to go because they have this privilege and whatever, it's like, no, we have to get to know people and understand them. And then you set boundaries. Like, I just know, like, it's not someone I want to be with either. So I was just like, you know, so there's a point where I was like, I don't really want to be with you either. And I don't know if you're necessarily my type, but there's another person to that, you know? Like, he's more than just that one opinion. And so that's why I can sit there, because I'm like, I deal with people all the time that I don't agree with their views or their beliefs or whatever that is. But I just choose to say, okay, you have this belief for some reason. I want to get to know why. And then if I can't reconcile that, then yes, you're gone. But if I can get at least a better understanding and say, okay, I'm going to love you and whatever, then it's like, true. Maybe I will change it. Maybe that will change. Maybe he'll be like, black women aren't that bad. Maybe he's, you know, like.
How long have you guys known this guy now?
High school.
Since
high
school. I think it's been long enough for him to realize that black women are pretty dope. If you guys have been in his life that long.
Yeah.
Everyone's not at the same place. That's what I would say. Everyone's not at the same.
Yeah, but that still goes along with what you just said, is, you know, that growth, and he's known you guys that long. If he's not at that place, are you guys going to continue to wait for him
But
to
we,
get to
okay,
that
but
place?
I would say this, we have not been intentional with, I guess, unpacking that.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like we've sat there and had this conversation. It's just that we had that and we're like, fuck.
And we didn't want to hear it anymore.
Which we should. I think we should.
Yeah.
Sit down and have. I feel like we had like very surface level conversations about it. We should sit down and have like more.
How do you feel about?
But what better? But the thing is, like, what better way from him to get that education than from women that he's seen? Like, these women are these people that have prejudice against, and they love me and they want me to understand that.
But you know, another thing that I'm thinking of right now is I read this article by I don't remember his last name, Embrium. He's like really popular in the black community, like Black Twitter and all that stuff. He's like a public figure, and he went to a barber shop, and I guess his barber's girlfriend came in, and it was a white woman. And she was saying how she had a friend that would be interested in dating him. And he was like, you know, just respectfully was like, you know, I think he asked her if she was white. And she was like, yeah. Oh, yeah, the girlfriend's white. And she was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, you know, no, thank you. And she took offense to that and went on this whole tirade about, you know, basically listing all these black women stereotypes of why would you date black women, they're this, they're that, they're this, they're that, and stuff like that. And he just went in on her and was just like, okay, so I'm gonna assume that this guy is the one who's been telling you this stuff. And really, how does that make you look any better when he has to bring this person down just to lift you up? Yeah. And I think that it goes along with, you know, this whole colorism thing that's going on within the black community, where it's like this teeter-tot thing that's going on where, you know, we're saying that light-skinned people are better because this, and this, but it really doesn't make a difference, because if you have to sit there and tear this person down just to put this person up, they're probably not that great to begin with. Yeah. Or we're all on the same playing field.
Right.
Which we are.
So I guess that could go back to the double standard, which I was going to mention, but I forgot. That's probably what the difference is between black women and
like
men,
the standard,
that preference, because I don't hear it that often. I do hear it that, you know, black women will say, you know, a light skinned dude might treat me better or something like that. but you definitely hear it from black
men
all the time.
Yeah.
There's always something on Instagram, Twitter, of some black boy going on a rant about how he will never date dark-skinned women, and it's just so disgusting. But I love every time I see it, there's always that comeback, like, nigga, your mama black. Right. You know, all the things that you hate about black women, I want you to write them down and go read that to your mother. Like, seriously.
Yes.
And see what she has to say about that. That's your assignment.
How about that?
How about that?
But that's also, okay, devil's advocate. That's the assumption that they were raised by their mother, that they have a good relationship with their mother. Because that could be the source of that hatred.
Right.
Is because I was raised by this black woman, and she was all these things to me, and so that's then why I spew that onto others. So there's a
bunch
lot
of black mamas that don't fit that stereotype. You know,
Yeah.
if it wasn't your mom, your friend's mom, somebody, like, you know, women who don't fit that stereotype. So it's like
you should still be saying, you know, in your mind, in your heart of hearts, you should still know this is not going to be something that's true of all black women.
No,
not all
I'm just saying,
even
bring
if
into
you
that.
had that experience, like, perfect example, Antoine Fisher. That story. He was molested and beat by black women. He still dated black women. He could have really just been like, hey, I hate black women. He wasn't even raised by his mother. His mother rejected him. He was raised in a foster home where he was, you know, he went through all this traumatic stuff at the hands of black women, but he didn't reject black women. He just rejected sex altogether because he was really fucked up. But, and that's a true story. So, I mean, it is something that is
I'm just saying that
I'm tired of the excuse too.
I'm not trying to use it as, I'm just saying that there's...
Your mama's still black, and at the end of the day, you still black. You gonna have black kids.
Blackity black.
You can have babies with a white albino chick, and your kids are still going to be black.
Yeah.
So have fun trying to do
just
that.
that self-hate. Like, really, we have to get to a point where we just reject all this nonsense and these lies that have been taught to us in school, growing up, on television, from older generations who believe that a Eurocentric standard of living and of beauty is best, because it's not. And I think just that mentality is what is destroying the love that we can have within our community. So love and appreciation, I should say. Appreciate black people. So,
all shades of black people.
Speaking of the spectrum, I guess it's just a rant of the week. Like, we come in all shades, all everything, and just educating. I think it's just awareness and educating yourself and exposing yourself to different types of black people. Just in general, the exposure is so important. Like, we're beautiful people. So,
What were you about to say?
No, I was just going to say, and I don't know if I said it on the last episode or when we're off camera, but we have to create our own standard of beauty within our community. And I know for me, personally, it's going to stop perpetuating those, like, little memes that I'm like, are so funny. But, like, stop, you know what I mean? Like, and stop. I mean, I call my light-skinned cousins my light-skinned cousins. Like, they just my cousins.
Right.
I don't call them my cousins. I'm going to start trying to do that. Sometimes I forget their names because I got a lot of them. So then I start calling them black cousins. Yeah. But it's so comfortable. It's comfortable within our community to do it, you know what I mean? But there is that derogatory, you know what I mean? So for me personally, that's my solution, is to stop perpetuating it and to catch myself when I do it and just say, hey, we all are beautiful. We're all black. We black.
black is beautiful.
Yeah.
We good.
Samesies.
Yeah. My solution I already talked about. I started working on loving me so that I would stop resenting anything lighter than me that wasn't the root of the issue. The root of the issue was my pain. So I've learned to transform that and love myself. Therefore, I shall love all others.
I like it.
Hence and therefore.
Shout out.
Hence and different.
But yeah. So, guys, we can probably still talk for days on this, but we're not going to. Tell us how you feel about everything. Like it, subscribe, click all the buttons, comment on the bottom. Let us know how you feel about it, and let us know. Share. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
If you love it, share it.
Yes, share
It's
all
one
of
click.
it.
And shout out to all the people that have been sharing our
Yes,
We follow back.
We do
Yeah,
follow
we follow
back.
back.
Yeah, we do.
No, but it's true. like friends, I be trying to make it so easy. I'm like, they just gotta click share.
One button.
Like it already
Before
says
you
what
read
they need.
this, just share.
Just share.
Then watch the
You already know it's gonna be good.
Oh, yeah.
So just share.
Right.
Yeah.
You know-
So tell us what you think, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as always, stay hydrated, stay moisturized, and stay black.
Stay black.